Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I have been putting in a ton of hours into MW2 multiplayer so far, leveling up as many different weapons as I possibly can to get you guys the best info on the best weapons to be running right now. So today we're going over 5 weapons, 5 class setups that I think are ridiculously competitive as it stands. First up here, we are starting with a pretty basic M4 setup. M4 is one of the first guns you unlock. Obviously, most players are probably going to like sort of default to this, if you will, and it is nice and consistent. It's very straightforward, very easy to use, and super reliable. Before we go through and break down the attachments for this, let's go over the basic secondary perks, equipment, everything like that, because this is actually the same on all my setups. Right now, because it's early game, I'm just straight up using the launchers to level these to get it so that I can actually get to rank 11 on all of them so I can unlock the camo challenge for them. So I just straight up use these as a secondary. I'll shoot them whenever I spawn in and then I go to my primary. You could also use some other secondaries as well, though the P890 will have a setup for that coming up here, but the secondary here is not really all that important. I wouldn't recommend running overkill necessarily right away just because it's MP. You're gonna find so many weapons on the ground as is, you don't really need that. So just a heads up, I am running launchers as my secondary. I'm running with flashes. These things are ridiculously strong right now. Even against battle hardened, they blind you for so long and can hit you through walls and barricades and all sorts of stuff, so they're pretty OP. The drill charge is insanely useful as a lethal here for breaching buildings, for getting rid of campers, so I love that. I've also got the Field Upgrade Pro, which I think you get at like level 44, where I can choose between a portable radar or a munitions box, which is nice and convenient. I can either get ammo or I can have that mini UAV. Then also for my perks, my perk package as it stands is double time, battle hardened, resupply. Then just behind the face cam here, I actually have high alert on there as well, which obviously notifies me whenever enemies are looking in my direction. So I really like these. Having that better duration of attack sprint, in my opinion, is huge for the movement in this game, and then being immune, or not immune, but you have the better effects to flashes and stuns and whatnot. So while it doesn't do much, it's going to help out some. The equipment in this game is pretty powerful, but yeah, just a heads up. That's the secondary setup for everything on every class setup today. But focusing here on the M4, like I said, this thing is old reliable already. Super easy to use, great range. You can kit this thing out in so many different ways. Personally, I'm going for more of like a mid to long range setup with my attachments here. This is what I've been running in game, and honestly, it just works really, really well. So first up here, I've got the Cronin Mini Pro, and this is essentially a blue dot. Now, optics are entirely preference, and you're gonna notice you probably don't have the same optics as me because these are unlocked by using all sorts of different weapons in the game. These are a universal attachment. So for instance, this blue dot I unlocked by using the Expedite shotgun and getting that to level 7. Unless you do that, you're not going to have this. Personally, I think the Lone Wolf optic is also great. There's a VOK 4 times, which is really solid as well. This is totally preference though when it comes down to optics. I like the Cronin Mini red dot because it's actually pretty solid as a red dot, and then Cronin Mini Pro as a blue dot is super convenient as well for like mid-range fights. I've got the Sakin ZX grip on here as well for better control, just going to make it a little bit easier to use. I also have the High Tower 20-inch barrel, which is best for range control and velocity, so perfect for like those medium and long range fights. I also have the RF Crown 50 compensator on here. The Castle compensator also basically does the exact same thing, so if you have either of those, feel free to run that, just better for control in general. Then lastly, I use the Shark Fin underbarrel, which gives you better aiming idle stability. However, I actually go through and tune this. You guys can see on the left, I add 0.34 ounces in weight for better recoil stabilization, and I also add in minus 0.25 inches in length to help out with the aim walking speed, so it's a little bit more aggressive and you have a slightly better strafe there. So that's the only thing I tune on that. I don't really have to tune much else. You could always tune the optic for that better view or whatever, but outside of that, the tuning changes are going to be pretty minimal to your overall setup and its impact on gameplay, so I don't really do too much in the way of that. Now the next loadout here is a bit of a slower one, but this is a powerhouse. I got the KASTOV 762, aka the AK-47 essentially. This thing, even with no attachments, is ridiculously strong. It absolutely just obliterates. It fries. It's got a bit of recoil, and like I said, it's a lot heavier, especially with the full setup on here, but when it comes to bringing the power, the KASTOV 762 is one of those weapons that absolutely is in the conversation. So here for my attachments, I am again going for the Lone Wolf optic, just like with the M4 and just like with all the other setups that we're going to cover today and throughout the, upcoming months and whatnot, entirely preference based. Use whatever you are the most comfortable with there. I've got the RPK factory stock on here for better control, better aiming stability as well. It slows it down a little bit, but like I said, this thing does have a little bit of bounce over range, so that'll help out maintaining that. I've got the 406 barrel on here. This is primarily for the better velocity and the better control. It hurts the damage range a bit, but honestly, this thing brings so much power, it's not a huge drawback in all honesty. And the other barrels here that you get by getting the other weapons leveled up, they're solid, like especially the 584. That'll be great for long range as well, but if you're just straight up using the KASTOV 7.62, 406 is pretty solid. I've got the Polar Fire S suppressor on here for better velocity and better damage range as well, so it's like the monolithic suppressor in a way. And then lastly, I go for the shark fin underbarrel again, and same deal, I tune it for recoil stabilization here. I don't really mess with the aim walking move speed. You can do that if you want to, but mainly what I'm focused on is adding in that better recoil stabilization to make it a little bit easier to use. So kind of a slow ADS, but for medium and long range fights, this thing is a beast as well. Then setup number 3, by far the weirdest one in the video today, but if you guys caught yesterday's video, I dropped a nuke basically using just the P890 pistol. This is a 2-tap pistol. It is absolutely insanely strong. I use it with a riot shield because you might as well have some protection there, but for a secondary, nothing is beating this thing. It is ridiculously powerful. It's the same setup that we talked about in yesterday's video, using the TAC Ops barrel here. This is going to be for better movement speed, better ADS speed, so it's even more aggressive. The silencer on here, the Forge DX90F, mainly just for that better velocity. I just felt like it was working well. Also the recoil smoothness on there as well. Bruin Express trigger here for the better fire rate. I got the 10-round mag just to have a little bit of extra ammo in there. Then also the DVF 60 grip for that better control, just in case you are spamming it. It makes it a little bit easier to use. Just one of the most powerful weapons in the game somehow is this pistol. Now, before we move on here, just want to give you guys a quick heads up that right now, only for this weekend, if you use my code on Gamer Advantage, you guys are looking to get yourself a pair of frames or glasses. They offer prescription or regular lenses. And just for this weekend, code Immortal gets you an extra $50 gift card in every single order. So if you want to pick up a pair of frames, this is like the best opportunity because you're getting that free gift card in there. I wear these things every single day. I love them. They're probably the most important part of my day-to-day setup, so feel free to check that out. Link will be down in the description below. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, every day I got you covered with class setups, tips, news updates, all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. Around 52% of viewers watching are not already subscribed, so if that's you, would love to have you join the family. Join us on the road to 900,000 subs, hopefully before the end of the year. And if you guys enjoy this video, or if you find it helpful, a like rating would be seriously appreciated. Let's try and aim for 2,500 likes on this one. Would really appreciate it if we could hit that. Now, loadout number 4, I've got the FENNEC. This thing is wild up close. Now, for what it's worth, it has a terrible damage per mag. You have to reload, it seems like, after every 1 or 2 kills because the fire rate and the magazine size is not fantastic when you factor everything in. But from 0 to 20 meters, this thing fries. It just absolutely melts everyone. Thing is so much fun to use as a close range SMG. So for the setup here, I'm running the Cronin Mini Pro, the blue dot yet again. Same deal with your optics. You could use the iron sights here even if you wanted to as well. Just use whatever you are the most comfortable with. I've also got the stock cap stock here. This is basically like the remove stock, if you will, for a better ADS, sprint to fire movement speed, and better hip fire recoil as well. I've got the icon itself, the Stippy Grippy, making a return here in MW2. This will help out with that recoil control in this case, so just makes it a tad bit easier to stay on target. Again, I've got the shark fin underbarrel here, and you can do the same thing, tune it up a little bit to around that 0.3 0.4 ounce weight there. You could also adjust the aim walking speed here too if you wanted a slightly better strafe speed. Just make sure with this graph you're not causing any major harm in any way, shape, or form. You don't want to have something go crazy inward and lose a lot of one stat. Then lastly, I go for the cubic compensator from the Bruin. This is just better control here yet again. Same deal, you could use the razor compensator. These are basically all the same things, so just whatever one you have unlocked, it's going to help out with some vertical and horizontal control. Go ahead, throw on that, and it'll feel nice and consistent. Super easy to use and absolutely incredible up close. And then lastly here, I got the Sakin MG38, or the Sakin MG38 LMG, which is a powerhouse for medium and long range fights. Just like the AK-47 or the KASTOV 7.62, whatever it's called, this thing is slow, it is heavy, it's bulky. Its ADS is not going to be great for rushing around, but for medium range fights, for long range fights where you have your sights already aimed down and you're ready, this thing is going to just absolutely decimate the opposition. It is so powerful, has such good range, even without a lot of attachments that actually add better damage range and whatnot. This thing is feeling nice and strong. So as far as the setup goes here, again, I'm using the Lone Wolf optic, basically your hollow sight. What I prefer for the longer range fights. I've got the Cheetah STM stock for the better aim walking speed and better sprint speed, just to make this thing a little bit less heavy. Obviously it's an LMG, so it is not the most agile, so that'll help out there. I've got the Bruin G305 rear grip on here as well. This is going to help out with some recoil control, just make it nice and easy over range. I've got the Polar Fire S a suppressor on here again for the better range, better velocity as well, so we love to see that. Basically your monolithic suppressor. By the way, you don't have to run a suppressor to stay off the map, but the pros here are solid in my opinion, so you might as well. And then lastly, again, I go for the shark fin under barrel, and I've got my tune on there for that slightly better recoil with the stabilization there. With an LMG, you can adjust the aim walking movement speed. It's probably not going to do much for you though. The tuning adjustments are pretty minimal unless you're going all out in one specific area, which in most cases is not going to be worthwhile. But that being said, those are my top 5 class setups and top 5 weapons to be using in MW2 multiplayer right now. As we can see more tuning, as we see updates, as I unlock new things and level things up and find new secret metas or whatever the case may be, you guys know I'm gonna have you covered here with all that stuff. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you can always guarantee you're up to date. And if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.